What's up, everybody? Leo Cannell here with our podcast for the day. Today, my friends, I'm pissed off, and I'm going to tell you why. More importantly, I'm going to tell you what you need to be doing when you're pissed off so you can convert that anger and that pissed offness into results, productivity, profitability, and kicking some butt. So let's get started. There are over 32 million businesses in the U.S., and over 90% of them will never break 7 figures in annual sales. So how do we as entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs break into that 7 figures club? This podcast will relentlessly share the secrets, strategies, and tactics I've used to create 3 multi-7 figures businesses and bring in even more successful entrepreneurs than me to share their inspirational stories and tactics to success. You can create your dream business and life right now. So buckle up and let's go. All right, my friends, today is Friday. And I always tell my team on Friday that champions create separation on Friday. So what are you doing on Friday to create separation? I hope you're taking massive action. I hope you're, not happy with where you're at. And I hope that you are creating plans and strategies, reaching up, working with mentors online and in person to make shit happen and grow your dream business. So that said, my friends, let's go ahead and dig into what it means to go ahead and take control and take that anger and that pissed offness that you might have inside of you for so many justifiable reasons. And instead of whining and complaining, twisting and turning the tables and turning that anger into productivity, profitability, energy, and kicking a little bit of ass. So why am I angry today? What's going on? Well, my friends, I've been working for over 2 months on a new, funding CEO sales funnel that is going to be so dynamic, so powerful, recruit so many great moms and dads who want to create a dream life and a better, life and situation for their family, for their children. And in order to do that, they need to take action. And they need to be able to have this workshop at their fingertips. And the problem that we've come across is the video editors and the people that we've worked with on this have wasted our time. They have not done what they said they were going to do. They violated every value and principle that we hold dear, that we know leads to massive results, to happy clients, to strategic partners being fulfilled. And so that, my friends, is why I'm not very happy today. In fact, I'm incredibly pissed off. But what do you do when you're pissed off? Do you sit and whine and complain and feel bad about yourself and act like a little victim? No. What you need to be doing is you need to define, all right, well, it's not working with them. Let's go ahead and pivot and adapt and find people who can get the job done, which is what we've done. Now, I'm still waiting on some other assets, some other video clips that they need to send over so we can get that fixed. But I've already found people who are going to get the job done, who share the values and principles I do, who are going to take the action. They're going to follow through, be people of their words. And again, if you can do that, you're going to be in the top 10% of businesses in your industry, in your profession. But the problem that most people have is when they get angry, when they get pissed off, they don't take action. They sit and feel bad for themselves. They act like a little victim. And boy, there's never been a time, I think, in society, in the media today, that people are worshiping and looking up to people who are victims and making it so cool and so authentic to be the victim of the day. That's not what you want to do. And that's why we always talk about creating separation on Friday. That's why we talk about being unreasonably optimistic in the face of adversity and difficulty and complications and figuring out where the solutions are. The vast majority of the population are so busy making love to their problems that they never actually focus on the solutions. And that's where 99% of your efforts need to be, is on the solutions, not the problem. So historically, if you look back at your life and you find times where you've gotten angry, well, what do? How do you deal with that? How do you turn that anger into productivity? Well, you might want to get up a little bit earlier. You might want to have a punching bag and beat the hell out of that punching bag, which is what I did this morning, right? These are the things that you can do to put your energy in the right spot and then transform that into effort, into specific tasks and goals, micro goals that you're going to achieve and attack for the day. And again, the problem that way too many people do is when they, encounter difficulty, challenges, roadblocks, walls, they sit there and they just focus and they talk about that problem. So what are some examples of people who push through in times of great difficulty and stuff that's going on? Well, there's a lot of different examples in history. There's a lot of great examples of people overcoming. One example that I would point out is Ray Kroc. who was the kind of the godfather of McDonald's. Now, he didn't actually invent McDonald's. The McDonald's brothers did. But what he did was he took that concept. And the interesting thing about Ray Kroc was, I mean, this guy was into his 50s. He was not a spry young Mark Zuckerberg, creating Facebook in his 20s and becoming a billionaire. But what he was someone who had seen a lot of difficulty, a lot of adversity, a lot of failure. He had tried a number of different businesses and industries and professions and not gotten the results he wanted, but he kept learning, he kept moving forward. He was obviously not happy about it. And when he started to work with McDonald's brothers, again, it was not easy. They didn't want to get big. They didn't want to franchise. So it was this step-by-step process. Now, you can certainly dig into the story and decide whether he did everything on the up and up ethically with McDonald's or not. That's certainly up for discussion. But what's not up for discussion is how he converted his lack of success, the dissatisfaction, anger that he absolutely had, into success by consistently looking for opportunities, adapting and pivoting and taking action towards those. And a great story of somebody who achieved enormous success and changed the world. I mean, how can you dispute that this guy didn't change the world? McDonald's is all over the world. The systems and processes created by McDonald's have been popularized and inserted into so many other franchise businesses within the food industry that it's transformed the lives of literally every person on this planet. So a great example of somebody who took anger, took issue with things not going the way he wanted to, even later on in his life in his 50s, and turned it into massive success. I think he eventually purchased the San Diego Padres baseball team and moved to San Diego, where I just was, a few days ago. So a great, powerful example of someone going through enormous adversity and difficulty and coming out on the other side. In my personal life, I certainly think back to, going through difficulties even, 3.5 years ago, a business that we built up from starting in my kitchen and growing fast, and then bringing in the wrong partners, the people who didn't share my values and principles, who didn't keep their word with clients, partners, etc., and having to start over and not being happy about it, being incredibly frustrated, incredibly disappointed, but again, focusing on those solutions and pivoting and adapting and realizing that there was a better life, a better business around the corner. As we fast forward 3.5 years later, that's exactly what we're seeing. And again, it's because of that ability to take the anger, the energy that you've got for when things don't go right, for when life doesn't treat you fair. And as I always tell my kids, don't ever come to me telling me it's not fair, because life will never be fair. What will be fair is how you react to the difficulty, how you, confront the adversity, and how you focus on the solutions. And again, a lot of this does come back to the values and principles that you live your life by. And that's what makes it so much easier to find success. If you have values and principles, if you know how you're going to react in times of adversity and difficulty, then it's not a surprise when the adversity comes, because we already know it's coming, right? When COVID came 18 months ago, a lot of people, a lot of businesses shut it down. Now, some were absolutely forced that way, but a lot were able to pivot and adapt. We saw, car dealerships who went from having, someone in the car that was test driving that they were selling their car to doing virtual test drives, where they would basically have Zoom on their phone and show all the features and benefits of a car and kind of virtually test drive it with the client, with the customer, and were able to maintain very strong sales when 80% of their industry was tanking in sales. And a lot of restaurants did the same thing. If you didn't have that online portal for someone to go ahead and check out and get food to go, as a restaurant, you needed to really hustle, pivot, and adapt quickly and create that ability for someone to order food online to go, do it in a way that they weren't going to be compromising or risking their health, forgetting COVID, et cetera, et cetera. And those that pivoted and adapted did well. For example, we had Sean Collins on the podcast, and he was saying about 3 months into the pandemic that they were, on this track to have the same amount of sales as they were in previous quarters because they had made that adaptation, because they had it so simple and easy for food to be purchased on the go. And for our business, we were doing a lot of events, physical live events, where we were traveling coast to coast across the country. And within 3 months, we'd made the pivot to working with groups that were doing virtual events and helping out with those. And 4 months later, had a record month, and every month thereafter, we've been growing consistently quarter to quarter with enormous growth because of that ability to pivot, adapt, take difficulty, take the adversity, and find the solutions fast. So that, my friends, is my message to today on a Friday, where champions create separation, where people who want to be successful and join the 7 Figures Club as a business owner that only 7% of businesses get to, they will take the adversity, the difficulty, they'll pivot, they'll jump around the wall, they'll go through the wall, they'll go around the wall of whatever difficulty there is, and there will be things that will be unjust, that will be unfair, that will absolutely piss you off. So what do you do? What do you do? When you get angry, do you stop taking action? Do you blame other people? Or do you hold yourself accountable for the possibility that you could have made different choices and not worry about what you can't control? Don't go backwards, always move forward and find out what you can do, what pivots, adaptations you can make today. Because at the end of the day, it's not the strongest, it's not the smartest who are going to win. In fact, it's those who adapt the quickest to the changing environment and difficulty, and that has never been more true than it has in the last 18 months. So that, my friends, is the message for today. Take action. If you like the podcast, subscribe, share it with others. Go to 7figures.com and sign up for our email list, and we'll notify you every time we get a new podcast out. It's on all the major platforms, from iTunes to Spotify to Google to Amazon, etc. God bless. Take your pissed offness, turn it into energy, action, and make it happen. We'll see you next time on the flip side of the 7 Figures Club podcast.
Are you looking for more 7-figure secrets, content, or even how you can launch your own recession-proof business? Then check out 7figures.com. That's the digit 7, FIGURES.com, where we share more videos, stories, strategies, funding solutions, entrepreneurial education, and even the secret business type that's recession-proof. Thank you for listening, and if you're finding value in our podcast, please give us a 5-star and invite others to join the club.